The temperature has been soaring, so too have the emotions and the anticipation as number 6 LSU comes rolling in to take on 9th-ranked Texas. Joe Burrow, Grant Delpit, number 7, the sensational defensive back. And the fireworks have started, and Sam Ellinger is leading his ball club out onto the field here at DKR Texas Memorial.
This was the game when I realized that maybe, just maybe, this team could be special. And that moment came on 3rd and 17.
Over the middle, complete to Jefferson. First down, on his way, and that might be the knockout punch.
From this moment on, the expectations only continued to rise. And just a few weeks later, me and my dad stepped foot in Tiger Stadium for LSU versus Florida. Really, their first test since this Texas game, and all eyes were in Baton Rouge for how the Tigers would respond. Was this team actually for real? Could they actually hold to these expectations that we had for them, that they could be one of the best teams to ever put on the LSU uniform?
And at Orgeron's Bayou, Bengals begin a challenging stretch, what they hope will take them into playoff contention. It takes a good team and a special effort to beat LSU here at night. And we'll see if the Florida Gators are up to it.
That night in Tiger Stadium, it was a constant back and forth game. On their first drive, LSU missed a field goal, then they forced Florida to go 3 and out, then they get the ball back, and like so many times that year, Burrow found Chase for a touchdown, but Florida would not go away. And you knew that something was going to have to give. One team was going to make a mistake. One player was going to make an outstanding play. You knew it was bound to happen eventually for this back and forth affair to finally stop. And a true freshman made an incredible play that I will never forget.
They fake it to Ryan Trask, looking to throw for the end zone. Diving pick. Derek Stingley made the pick. He'd been picked on all night, and now he makes the Tigers' biggest defensive play.
That is a big-time play. He gets beat, as you said, against Jefferson. Tough second half.
Derek Stingley, the true freshman, makes an incredible play to halt Florida from scoring and keep the Tigers' 7-point lead. And then what happens next ultimately defined this team's whole season, their willingness to be aggressive. Their willingness to not just run the clock out and run the ball, but stay aggressive and put the game away.
Look, Burrow steps up and will take a downfield shot and has Chase, and he'll score!
Just like that, the Tigers would move to 6-0. The next week, they would go on the road and handle Mississippi State. And then they would enter into their 2 toughest games of their entire season. A home game against Auburn and a road game at Alabama.
Ed Orgeron's LSU Tigers set to close out their October schedule with a march down Victory Hill in Baton Rouge. The nation's number 2 team looking to keep their perfect record intact today. And all eyes will be on the nation's hottest quarterback, Joe Burrow. Even Mike the Tiger smells something in the air. A streak of Tigers from the plains of Auburn ready to ambush in Death Valley. And so the tale of top 10 Tigers will be told today as the Home Depot SEC on CBS brings you to Death Valley. Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. It's the second-ranked undefeated Tigers of LSU against the once-beaten and ninth-ranked Tigers of Auburn.
So once again, the stage has been set. A top 10 matchup in Tiger Stadium. How will LSU respond? Once again, it feels like everything that they've worked for up for this point in the season is once again on the line, and Auburn actually gives them their greatest test of the season. And when it came down to it, when it mattered most, once again, it wasn't a play that you may expect. It wasn't Burrow to Chase. It wasn't a big Clyde Edwards-Helaire run. It was actually a QB keeper by Joe Burrow that put the Tigers on top this day.
3rd down and 2. At the 7, empty backfield. Will Joe Burrow run this?
He's got a run box. Only 4 in there, 5 blockers.
He will, and he's going to score. Touchdown, LSU.
Yeah, you've got the numbers. You've got a run box. You count the number of players.
LSU would go on to win this game 23-20 in what was their toughest test up to this point this season. But what this team did on that day was prove that they could win in multiple ways. They showed their toughness. They showed that they could win a high-scoring shootout, maybe against Vanderbilt, but they could also play a tough, honestly pretty nasty game against Auburn when they did not play their best. And because of this victory on this day in Tiger Stadium, it set up arguably the most important game of the season, the game at Alabama.
8 years ago, number 1 LSU met number 2 Alabama in what was billed as the game of the century.
Those of us who love this sport live for nights like this.
It was an indelible display of smash mouth football.
It is a physical football game here.
Puts it up. Intercepted. Oh no! Eric Reed. LSU remains undefeated.
The Tigers prevailed, barely. That was then, and this is now. A world in which both teams have joined the revolution where offense reigns.
Go, Joe, go! Tua Tagovailoa.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Devontae Smith.
Justin Jefferson.
Jerry Jeudy.
The script has changed, but the stakes remain the same.
This is a game that everyone looks forward
I've been
to.
waiting for this game since the
This
summer.
is one of the greatest stages of college football that there is.
Man, this game is gonna be something.
Touchdown!
Undefeated LSU.
What a play. Touchdown, Alabama.
Undefeated Alabama. In the game of the year. And with that, the Home Depot SEC on CBS brings us to a packed house, Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and the matchup of unbeaten second-ranked LSU against number 3 Alabama.
It's no secret that before this game, LSU hadn't necessarily had success against Alabama in a very, very long time. But there was one play early on in this game where, as an LSU fan, I thought maybe today will be different. Maybe the ball will actually bounce our way for once.
Waddle there with him. Empty backfield. 3rd down to go. Pressure coming. Tagovailoa has to scramble around. He's going to run on that bad ankle. Lost the football, and LSU's got it. Ray Thornton as Tua just dropped the ball.
Tua just dropped the ball. Are we serious? What just happened? The ball bounced LSU's way against Alabama. Nothing crazy happened with the refs. He just dropped the ball, and it's LSU's football. Crazy, incredible. And from here on out, I'll just let this game do all the talking.
I had the system. You can do it.
Play fake to Edwards-Helaire. Burrow going for all of it. Caught. Touchdown, Jamar Chase. Had to see his numbers 11 of 13. York to try to give LSU a 10-point lead. Does.
Diggs and Surtain for Alabama.
And Rosenberg's punt goes back to the 23. Wow. I don't know how Waddle got away from that whiplash. And now he's coming the other way. Jalen Waddle across midfield. He's got a convoy. Waddle, he's gone. Touchdown.
For anything, I'll try to find out more.
God, I think he's thinking about his neck. The way it was twisted on that one play. Here's an opening. Terrace Marshall is gone. Touchdown, LSU. He was wide open. Vision, usually.
You know, LSU was not in a sack, but they'd had pressure.
Tua deep on the sideline. Devontae Smith, who catches everything. Touchdown, Alabama. Sideline.
It just feels like field goals are wins in this game, doesn't it? The way they can score so fast, these offenses.
Cade York hit from 40 earlier. This is from 45. Kick on the way, and it is good.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they got a quarterback run for Joe Burrow.
In the shotgun, Burrow with Edwards-Helaire. Edwards-Helaire, airborne touchdown.
Cow. If that doesn't remind you of Darren Sproles, I don't know what does.
When I said Helaire,
it's almost like getting to serve twice in tennis.
Tagovailoa throws down the middle, intercepted. Patrick Queen coming the other way. LSU's got it right back and another chance to score before halftime. Burrow sets up, fires to the end zone. Edwards-Helaire, touchdown.
Let's go! Darren Sproles, I'm telling you, this guy's going to be a great NFL football player. He's a nightmare mismatch.
And now they're thinking touchdown. Edwards-Helaire with a spin, and he'll have one. Touchdown, LSU.
Let's catch our breath here for a second because a lot's happened. A lot of points have been scored, a few turnovers, lots of back and forth, but Alabama has managed to stick with LSU the entire game. You know, Bama is an extremely talented team. They're really matching LSU punch for punch. They're matching these touchdowns, everything, and yet so is LSU. Truly two heavyweights went at it that night, and this was such an incredible game for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who ultimately is a great underdog story in himself, getting this massive chance with this LSU team this year, and man, did he prove himself worth it tonight over and over and over again. Bama's going to score once again, and then, of course, when the Tigers needed another big play this game, it was the name of Clyde Edwards-Helaire that always came up with the play when we needed it most.
After this play, Alabama will use their timeout if they don't score, that is, LSU.
Edwards-Helaire. They will score. Touchdown.
Coach, it took 8 years, and you knew this one was going to take 60 minutes. We know what it was like to watch, but what was this one like to coach?
You know what? It's a great game to be in, a great rivalry. I am so happy for the state of Louisiana and all the LSU fans and our football team and our coaching staff. They worked very hard for this victory. It's a much-deserved victory for our football team and our great state of Louisiana and our great university in LSU.
This season culminated at home against Texas A&M. Now, the Tigers were heavy favorites in the game. They were undefeated, obviously, coming into this game. But this was also senior night, and a night when Joe Burrow would get acknowledged and shown as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever put on the LSU uniform.
Another play fake by Burrow, and a deep strike, and an open receiver. Jamar Chase, another touchdown.
You know, whenever they announced Joe Burrow and he came out with his last name in that Cajun French spelling, if you will, the announcer, he kept reading off all the accomplishments that Joe Burrow had accomplished, obviously, throughout his time at LSU, and he kept going and going and going. And obviously, I had watched all the games this season. I had seen Joe Burrow dominate up to this point, but it was really in that moment when I realized exactly what we had witnessed that season. We had witnessed arguably the greatest season ever from a collegiate quarterback. The Tigers would handle Georgia in the SEC championship game, and then they would go on to the college football playoff semifinal and take on Oklahoma in one of the silliest and craziest games that we will ever see in college football. A game where you might say LSU put up video game numbers once again, a game in which this was literally down to the final four teams in all of college football, and LSU absolutely embarrassed Oklahoma. Take a look.
We're into the game at 77-9. That would be the record. Throwing deep. Has a man! Another touchdown! Jefferson hangs on this time for 6 points.
Nationals on that they couldn't come down with.
Burrow dodges the rush. Going for Jefferson again! It's another touchdown! And he beat Woody Washington.
Game, and it's a huge one on 3rd and 17.
22-yard gain. Burrow deep again, on target again. Jefferson again. Touchdown again.
Tight end in motion and lead him as a blocker.
On target, wide open receiver. Thaddeus Moss with one man to beat. Touchdown. Pat Fields could not get him down.
Ball game.
Burrow fakes it. Throws wide open. Touchdown. Terrace Marshall this time. Will toward the Buckeyes, had a great experience there. He wants a rushing touchdown, and he has it. He's thrown. We mentioned Bob Stoops. John Emery.
Hopefully you get the picture now. 63-28 in a college football semifinal game against Oklahoma. We're not playing James Madison. We're not playing Tulane. 63-28. Tigers dominate. And this set up a national championship game against the Clemson team that hadn't lost in over 17 games. Let's check it out.
We are ready for the college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. A collision of unbeaten LSU, unbeaten Clemson. What a quarterback showcase. Trevor Lawrence, tall and tough, and 25-0 as a college starter. Joe Burrow, the landslide winner of the Heisman Trophy, also perfect as a starter.
The stage was set in New Orleans, obviously about a 60-40 split in the crowd for LSU fans. And this year was such a unique year to be an LSU fan because in every single game, you expected to win. Of course, as a fan, you want your team to win, but LSU was so dominant all year long. When going to this game, it's almost like you knew LSU was going to win. It started off back and forth. Lawrence ran one in, then of course, shocker, Burrow to Chase in the end zone. But Clemson actually jumped out to a pretty sizable lead in this game. And it was the first time since the Auburn game that really some doubt had crept into my mind when watching this team. You know, you're at the national championship game, you spent all this money, you're in New Orleans, and you're like, man, is LSU about to blow this perfect season? You get down 17-7, you wonder how the team's going to respond, and then they do.
Down tonight. One of those big 4-point plays. Burrow looking to run, escapes and scores. Well, they got the Fab Five playmakers, but you got to keep an eye on the quarterback, too.
And they called the right thing. They expected and emptied the potential of him to run. Everybody on the same page.
Burrow from the pocket, launches to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Chase! And LSU takes its first lead.
Throwing it's out in less than 2.5.
Here comes pressure. Gets it out quickly. Touchdown! Thaddeus Moss just standing still. And LSU stretches the lead before halftime. 95. Etienne again. Muscles. Touchdown, Clemson. Burrow backpedals, flips it far side. Catch made. Moss. Is he in? No signal. Touchdown. For a second time, the tight end has found the end zone. And momentum.
As LSU found their rhythm as the game went on, as a fan, you took a deep breath. You realized that what you were watching was your team not only winning the national championship, but having probably the best season we'll ever see from a college football team. And of course, it was in New Orleans, so the party was just beginning.
Score, the LSU Tigers 42, the Clemson Tigers 25.
Let's go! The 2019 LSU Tigers. Undefeated season, winning most games in dominant fashion, but what was my favorite moment? It wasn't being at the national championship game. It wasn't all the points that they scored. My favorite moment of the season actually came in the form of a Heisman Trophy speech. And this speech leads us to the reality that sports have always been more than just a game. More than points scored, more than winning and losing. Sports have and always have been about, to me, the impact that we can make on other people that will last a lifetime.
Coach O. You have no idea what you mean to my family. You know, I didn't play for 3 years. You took a chance on me, not knowing if I could play or not. And I'm forever in your... forever grateful for you. Can you imagine a guy like Coach O giving me the keys to his football program? He just means so much to me and my family.
This was the story of the 2019 LSU Tigers. A team that had it all, but we honestly forget how it even started. A 2018 season with some transfer quarterback from Ohio State who didn't start a single down for them. A coach in Ed Orgeron who wasn't necessarily respected among college football coaching ranks. Humble beginnings, if you will. But they believed. And what they had was a team. They had this slogan that year, and it was one team, one heartbeat. And this team truly embodied that. In every tough moment this year, it was almost like this team just took it on the chin and only got better when adversity came. And I truly believe that's because this team was actually a team. They depended on one another. They trusted in each other to do their job and get it done with a brother next to them. And this is what's so cool about sports. There were transfers, there were red shirts, there were guys from every part of the U.S. on this team who played at different schools the year before, 2 years ago, but for this season, they laid it all out for LSU. You know, Ed Orgeron had this slogan also when the team would come out of the tunnel, and it was the greatest sound in college football, the LSU Tigers going to war, and they truly went to war each and every night. So the story's finished. The 2019 LSU Tigers, 15-0 and national champions.